Okay, Sharon here with Be Skinny and another quick tip. And this one is on overeating. So, when you sit down to eat, if you are struggling with overeating, and you know whether or not you're overeating. So if you have an Egg McMuffin and you have 3 or 4, you're overeating, right? So you don't have to say, oh, is this overeating? I don't know what's overeating. Come on. We know when we've eaten more than we need at that time. There's this little old trick that says gauge you can use. Your stomach is about the size of your fist before it's stretched out to like the size of a gallon or something with a big belly. So we know when we're overeating. The question is, why am I overeating? It's kind of like back to the question when I said, when you eat when you're not hungry, I want you to ask yourself, like if you have a thought, it's 9 o'clock at night and you want to go have chips or something, and you know you're not physically hungry, then ask yourself, why am I eating? And it doesn't matter what the answer is as much as you acknowledge that you're about to eat when you're not hungry, and that you follow it up with, oh, I'm naturally skinny. I eat only when I'm hungry. I never overeat. I eat whatever I want. And my body burns it up, just metabolizes it and uses it up. But I eat only when I'm hungry. And over time, you won't eat out of habit of watching TV and just being bored. Well, you can use the same concept, the same principle when it comes to overeating. So let's say you sit down to eat. Like for me, I usually eat 1 meal a day. I might have a snack during the day, some chips or something, but usually I have 1 meal a day in the evening. That works for me. I like eating that way. I don't filter the type of food. I eat anything I want. It doesn't matter if it's chicken and dumplings or pizza or yams and fried chicken. It doesn't matter what it is. I eat what I want. But I don't eat the amount of food I used to eat. And when I say ask yourself, why am I overeating? For me, there were several reasons. One is because of all of the history of dieting, in the back of my mind, I always knew, you better get it in now, because any day now, I'll be starting another diet. You'd be telling yourself you can go on a diet, just eat as much as you can. So there was the urgency eating and the Last Supper, and every meal was that. It wasn't like it was once. It's like every meal was the Last Supper, and there was always urgency to eat it. Another reason I was eating is it was out of habit. I had linked eating and watching my favorite TV show, or when I would get angry, oh my gosh, I would really reach for food. If I was bored or lonely or feeling sorry for myself, there were a lot of reasons that had nothing to do with physical hunger, and the amount of food I was consuming would just stuff that down, and then I'd fall asleep. Some of you know what I'm talking about. And it wasn't that the food was so great, because people say, oh, but I just love food. I just love the taste of food, and so I can't stop eating it. There's a reason you don't stop eating it. I remember one day I was at the grocery store, and I was trying some fried chicken. This was before I started my journey to freedom. And I remember I said, I want 2 legs. And they were like, oh, you want to roll with it? I'm like, sure. But what I noticed is they gave me 1 roll. Now, when I would be making that, if I was at home, first of all, I would have more than 2 pieces of chicken, and I would have more than 1 roll. And I just felt like that was kind of, so 2 drumsticks and a roll. For some of you, that's too much. But for me, that was, that's good. But I would have probably had 3 pieces of chicken or 4 and 2 or 3 rolls and ice cream. So if you look at what is considered like a reasonable kind of normal portion based on your stomach being the size of your fist, when you chew the food up. So you can kind of guess, oh, do I really need 4 pieces of chicken? Do I really need 2 or 3 rolls? And so you're eating out of habit. Oftentimes it's that you have clicked. The fat self-image has gone onto autopilot, and you're just automatically eating the foods that will manifest a fat self-image. That was the root of everything. The other things were symptoms. The sad, bored, lonely, angry, the urgency, the Last Supper, all were symptoms of a fat self-image. So when you're overeating, it's because at the root, you see yourself as a fat person. And fat people in your mind overeat. Now, you'll say it's for all these other reasons, like I just laid out. I was bored, I was sad, when I was angry, all of those things. But really, those were kind of like symptoms, and then they become habits. But they feed the image. They water the seed for the fat person in my mind, the fat self-image, because that person overeats. They eat when they're angry. They eat when they're bored. They eat when they're sad. They eat for all these other reasons. They eat too much. They eat because there's the Last Supper, but it's all coming from a mindset, a mental image, a self-image of a fat person. And that fat person eats that way, and then they go on a diet, and they stay as long as they can. They lose weight, and then they gain it back, and then they do this ritual all over again. So anytime you find yourself overeating, saying, oh, but it's just because the food tastes so good, because that's one of the things sometimes you'll hear people say is, oh, I just can't stop eating. It just tastes so good. I just love food. But that's not why you're eating. You're eating because the fat self-image is driving you to eat. And the skinny self-image will stop you from overeating. So you don't have to try. All you have to do is be skinny. So when you start to overeat or you see yourself eating and it clicks, something comes to you like, oh, I'm naturally skinny. I'm naturally skinny. I never overeat. And after a while of saying that and seeing that and feeling that and thinking that way, it'll click and you'll be skinny in your mind and you'll never overeat. I mean, maybe rarely, but if you say never, then you'll never. I told myself I never overeat. You can say rarely, you can say hardly, it's up to you how you want to program it. But why program that you overeat? Why would you want to program that at all? So say what you want to see. That's my slogan. If you don't want to see it, don't say it. So the next time you are tempted to overeat or in the middle of overeating, don't beat yourself up. Just when the light bulb lights up, and it comes to you, just say, why am I overeating? Oops, I'm naturally skinny. And you just take a few minutes and say that a few times to yourself, and then in your mind see yourself as that skinny person, and it will take away your desire to eat anymore. You may get a couple more bites in, but for the most part, you're going to stop eating. And you're not going to be trying to stop eating because the self-image is pushing that fat self-image to the background and the skinny self-image is coming to the foreground. And once it pushes it on out, like fades to black, fades out the fat self-image and the skinny self-image takes over, you'll never overeat. And that's how you resolve this. This is how you end overeating. This is how you be skinny naturally. Because all of the behavior and the excuses of why you're overeating are simply symptoms, or they're connected to maintaining that fat self-image in your mind. That image is driving you, and then it's giving you all these excuses as to why you're doing it. But really, it's because you see yourself as a fat person. And a fat person in your mind is someone who overeats, who eats when they're not hungry, who eats when they're bored, when they're sad, when they're angry, when they're glad, who eats because they think they love the food. They'll say, I love the food, who just... It's a result or a product or manifestation of a fat self-image. And the only way to get rid of that is to change the self-image. You get rid of a problem by going to the root and removing it or really replacing it. Because you don't really just delete anything, you have to replace it. So you replace the fat self-image with the skinny self-image, and in a short amount of time, depending on how often you do this mental work, how often you see and say, I'm naturally skinny, I eat only when I'm hungry, I never overeat, I eat whatever I want, I lose weight so fast, I love to drink water, I love to exercise, I love to take the stairs, I never take the elevator, I hardly ever drink soda. You can program anything you want into your subconscious. I eat whatever I want. I eat everything I want when I'm hungry. Not everything at once. You know what I'm saying? But you have to program yourself as the person you want to be. And one of the things is someone who never overeats. I never overeat. You say that. And then you see yourself eating portions that are not too much, that are not that of someone overeating. So you would never see yourself as a skinny person eating 3 or 4 hot dogs, right? No, because that's overeating. Or 3 or 4 Big Macs, or 3 or 4 burgers, or you know what I mean? You see yourself eating the amount, and you see yourself skinny, and then you add that skinny image to the amount, but make sure it's the food you love to eat. And because there is never the thought again that any day you'll be going on a diet, that's never in your mind. So there's no Last Supper, there's no urgency. The fat self-image is fading away. It's fading away. The skinny self-image is getting brighter and brighter. It's coming to the foreground. It's taking over. And pretty soon it clicks and you're on autopilot. And you're naturally skinny. You're skinny in the mirror like you're skinny in your mind. You eat only when you're hungry. You never overeat. That means you don't eat for sport or boredom either, not just too much on your plate. You eat only when you're hungry. You eat what you want. Your body digests it perfectly, assimilates it, metabolizes it quickly, and it makes you skinny, keeps you skinny, and stays skinny forever. Also, tell yourself, I lose weight fast. All the things you want your body to be like, that's what you do. And if you practice this, you'll see very quickly that the overeating will go away. And it'll be almost like, one day I didn't overeat anymore. But it will be because you have changed your fat self-image to that of a skinny self-image, a naturally skinny self-image. So now you're naturally skinny in your mind. That means without dieting, without special foods, without eliminating food groups, without shakes and pills and potions and prepackaged meals and none of that, eating the foods you love to eat, but you don't overeat. Because in your mind, you have programmed yourself as someone who is naturally skinny, who never overeats, who eats whatever you want, who cannot gain weight, who weighs 110 pounds every day, no matter what you eat, who digests everything perfectly, your body does, it metabolizes it quickly, it loses weight fast, it keeps you skinny every day, no matter what you eat, you just cannot gain weight, you just stay at 110 pounds, size 2 every day. And that's what you say. That's how you see yourself in your mind when you're doing your Take 5 visualize. And then in no time, that's who you'll be. And the overeating will be gone. And it won't be a struggle. It won't be an effort. It's like anything else you learn, though. At first, it's on purpose. Like if you learn to ride a bike, a child learns to walk, you learn to drive. Anything you're learning, a skill, it's deliberate, on purpose in the beginning. You have to, like when you're learning to drive, put your hand in the 10-2 position, So it's on purpose. Now you can drive and put on your mascara and eat breakfast and do all kinds of things at the same time, right? I know you shouldn't be doing all that. But the point is you could do it. Sometimes you drive and you're like, I don't even know how I got home. Because you're not even thinking about it. It'll be the same thing once you get from that fat self-image, which that's what was driving you to eat. Make no mistake, it wasn't boredom or anger or tired or sleepy or angry or because the food tastes so good. That's not why you were overeating. You were overeating because you were fat in your mind. The self-image of yourself was that of a fat person. And that drives you. It drove you to eat when you were not physically hungry, to overeat when you would eat, and to go on a diet, deny yourself, deprive yourself, lose weight, gain weight, repeat the cycle. That's over. You're free. Oh my God, hallelujah. I love that. You're free now. You eat whatever you want. But I just eat only when I'm hungry. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. It's like, if you don't have to use the bathroom, do you just go hang out in the bathroom? Of course not. Who does that, right? If you're not thirsty, you don't just stand at the refrigerator and just drink bottle of water. Who does that? No one. So why do we do it with our eating? Because the fat self-image is driving you. So you don't have an image in your mind of someone who sits in the bathroom. That's all working fine. So now you'll have an image of yourself as someone who is naturally skinny, who eats whatever they want, who eats only when they're hungry, who never overeats. And then you're not trying to not overeat. You just go skinny. Anytime you're in the middle of overeating, go skinny. First you say, why am I eating? Why am I still eating? I'm full. And then you go skinny in your mind. That means you go to that place. You see yourself walking around in that sexy spandex catsuit and high heels, or your short flirty sundress and high heels. You see yourself going up and down the stairs in high heels. You see yourself out dancing. You see yourself turning heads. You see yourself skinny. And that image will soon replace the fat self-image, the naturally skinny you. And then you cement it even more by saying what you see. I'm naturally skinny. I eat only when I'm hungry. I never overeat. Oh my gosh, I have a super high turbo metabolism. It burns up everything I eat. I cannot gain weight. I'm just naturally skinny. I weigh 110 pounds. I stay at 110 pounds every day. I cannot gain weight. I am just genetically blessed. I'm naturally skinny that way. I never diet. I never overeat. Do you see what I'm saying? Oh, I love to drink water. I love to take the stairs. I hate elevators. not hate them like that, but I don't like to take the elevators. I love to take the stairs. I love to eat small portions. I love the lightness of my tummy. I love having a flat tummy. You say the things as opposed to focusing on the fat and, oh, what's wrong with me. You acknowledge it, and then you go skinny. You ask the question, why am I eating? Why am I overeating? I'm not hungry. And then you go skinny. And then you say, oh, I'm naturally skinny. I weigh 110 pounds. I cannot gain weight. I never overeat. I'm just naturally skinny, genetically blessed. I have a super high turbo metabolism. My body burns up everything I eat. I'm just genetically blessed. I cannot gain weight. I'm naturally skinny. I weigh 110 pounds today. I stay at 110 pounds every day, no matter what I eat. And you just keep saying that, oh, I never overeat. I hate the way that feels. And so you keep watering the seed, you keep watering the seed of a naturally skinny you. And then in no time, you're going to be the skinny person in the mirror. That will be an exact match to the skinny person in your mind. So they'll be the same. And you will never overeat again. It'll just go away. And that's how it works when you become naturally skinny without dieting. And you end the binge, you end the overeating, and you're free. And you get rid of the fat self-image, and the skinny self-image is running you just like the fat self-image used to. And now you just have no desire to overeat ever again. And it's easy and it's effortless. And you'll be so glad because you're free from it, free from overeating, and naturally skinny forever and ever. Amen.